Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this live broadcast, which is going to give you a whole lot of background and connection to the Farmer Incubator program for 2022. I've been fortunate enough to be involved with the Farmer Incubator program through the National Sustainable Living Festival, and that goes back quite a few years now. So this program has actually been going for, as I was talking to Lizzie just now, around about 8 years, which is very exciting to say the least. Now, I'd like to start the broadcast by, for those of you that don't know, my name's Costa. As for all of those that are following, there's the opportunity to come in through my page, through my timeline. We've got the Grow It Local audience, and then there's also LinkedIn and YouTube. So I want to give you all a very big welcome and acknowledge that I'm coming to you from here in Sydney, in Bondi, which is Gadigal land of the Eora Nation. And I'd like to acknowledge the country that I'm on here and acknowledge that this broadcast is all about working with and above all else caring for country. It's an opportunity to connect closer to the land that not only nurtures us but feeds us as well. So I'm really excited to introduce you to our two guests tonight from Farmer Incubator, Lizzie and Pat. But before we go, oh look, people are rolling in. Hello, Callum. Hello, Stevie Cooper, Emmanuel, Karen Sanchez up on the Sunshine Coast. Hello, Michelle, Monique. If you can just let us know where you're coming in from, just so that everyone on the broadcast can sort of see the width and breadth of who's interested in this, and particularly if you're coming to us from Victoria, where hopefully we may gather some new potential farmers. And look, this is nationally significant because we all know people that may be inspired to jump in and join the Farmer Incubator program. Here we go. Here's lots of comments coming in. G'day, we've got Kay O'Brien from up in Cairns. I'm from Baroota in the Southern Flinders Ranges. Shell's from Quirindi in New South Wales. We've got Casey up in Newcastle. Bruce from Brizzy. Diane Sanders up in Bathurst. G'day, Diane. Sally from Toowoomba. Chris from Turrbal and Juggera country. G'day, Chris. Lauren Schneider. Lee from Bendigo. Fiona up in Brisbane. Currajong. Wilds Meadow in the Southern Highlands. Welcome, everyone. It's fantastic to have you here. Thanks for taking the time to throw those comments in. Rach from Beals Road Farm. I think that's an inside job there, but we'll learn a bit more about that in a minute. Rach, you're stirring me up. Brigadoon all the way in WA. Karang in Victoria. Young in New South Wales. Billy Chapman. Sally McCraith down in Tassie. Hello, Sal. Wow, it's wonderful to have you all here. And as I said, I'm really excited about this program because, as you would have read in the post, this is about, for so many people interested in getting into growing, interested maybe in market gardening or farming. But where do you begin, particularly if your family's not from the land or you're living in the city and you've got no chance of getting any land in the immediate future because you don't have a network. There's plenty of land out there. There is no doubt about that. But what the big question is connecting land with growers. And as any of the farmers, and there's farmers here online, Summer Farrelly, big hello. Can everyone say a big hello to Summer Farrelly, who's joined us from up in Queensland, one of my besties. And it's lovely to see you. And happy birthday for last week, or was it the week before, Summer? But I drink tea for you, Summer. Not all of us have that opportunity or have that knowledge to connect with someone on the land. And I think one of the big things about the Farmer Incubator is it's about the connections as well, not only the education, but the connections. So without any further ado from me, hello, Sarah Jane. Oh, thanks for saying hi. Shana, happy birthday for 2 weeks ago. That's so nice. That's really nice, everyone. Thanks, Shana, for wishing happy birthday. It's, some of your birthday goes for longer than just the day or the week. All right, now, here we go. I'm going to call in our wonderful guests today.
Hi. Hello.
Lizzie, wonderful to have you on the live today. And Pat, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, look, I'm very excited. With the lockdown and not being able to be down in Melbourne earlier for the Sustainable Living Festival, and of course with the majority of the festival being kind of a morph of online and much smaller events. The big event at Birrarungma hasn't happened, so the long table lunch didn't happen, which is normally a chance where I promote this every year. And then hearing that you're sort of getting to that point where the next intake is drawing to a peak, I thought, well, let's put it out there and share it with everyone. So Lizzie, if I could start with you.
Sure.
I've given a little bit of an outline of Farmer Incubator in the post. So everyone who's joined us, like Jackie from Kamilaroi Country, and that's Glenn in Kamilaroi Country, and Jackie in Gracemere, and Nabiac in New South Wales, Lauren Willis. Wow, good on you. Tell us a little bit about what was the background to Farmer Incubator, and you have a connection to it because you've actually done it. So you're not just a talking head. There's plenty of soil under your fingernails.
Yes.
Give everyone, your perspective, having moved through the program and experienced it as a greenie, as a green, fresh person, and then loving it so much that you're involved.
Yeah. Easy done. Firstly, I'd just like to acknowledge the land that we're on here today of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people. I'm so excited to see how many people have signed up to have a look at this today. Thank you, everyone, for your interest. I guess I'll just talk a little bit about Farmer Incubator and the program. The premise for Farmer Incubator is growing farmers for a fairer food system. As you've already covered, the idea is that to give people like a safer and easier and a lower risk access into farming. So for me, the reason that I looked into this is I was curious. I was working in corporate jobs and really enjoyed growing veg at home, kept finding myself saying, I want to be out on a farm, and then stumbled across this program that is run predominantly on weekends. The workshops are on weekends. The cost wasn't a huge amount to put in. It's a year course that I could still do with other things that I was doing and get that experience out of it. So I guess it goes to show for me it went really well. Since then I've done some horticulture study and I've sort of moved across into that space. But yeah, loved it so much that I stuck around to coordinate it. I guess a quick one on the program. The reason we choose garlic is that it's a nice long crop. So what we do is we will sign up participants. We have a bunch of different sites who very generously get involved with the program each year. And we can give our participants a crop of garlic and access to land to farm it on with some of our farmers. And then we send them through workshops. We have 8 workshops throughout the year, teaching them things from soil health to pest management, marketing your products, so that they're all in best stead when it comes to harvest time to actually go out and take their crop to market and get, the real experience of market gardening. Yeah, that's in short.
So the 8 workshops, are they a day workshop? Like how much physical support so I join up? Walk me through that process of I join up and somehow you marry me to a piece of land. I know that before people could find their own land, but now you've kind of coalesced it into a certain number of farms, which I suppose is nice because it brings the people together.
Yes, yeah. Well, we're based on sort of a co-farming sort of module, so it gives that experience of working as a team, farming together. You can also bounce things off each other because it's a little bit nerve-wracking when you're not sure what you're doing, and you get to sort of build a bit of a team spirit with your group. But what was my question? With the workshops, sorry. I got caught up with the workshop. So we have an introductory one, and then as sort of we move through with your crop, we've timed the workshops to sort of fit. So the first one we do is soil health. So you can go out and have a look at the soil health. And then there's a planting workshop. There's a pest and disease workshop. But they're done on weekends. They're not quite a full day, but they are sort of a full day, maybe on a Saturday. Once a month. We do have some time off over winter because there's not a lot happening on the farm in winter. But the way that it's done is sort of as you're learning it, you'll be applying it to your crop. So it does work quite neatly with the garlic crop. Yeah. Time-wise, outside of that, you probably just want to go out and do a little bit of weeding every now and then. It's not a hugely time-heavy course, but it's also a nice excuse to get out and just get your hands in some soil if you want to, especially doing the course last year myself with lockdowns. It meant I could get out on a farm and just get some of that nature into me, which was really, really beneficial.
I can imagine. And look, I saw a really interesting post came up once I put this broadcast up as scheduled. A really good post came in through LinkedIn from a market gardener who said, oh, it's not actually about a job, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Explain a little bit, like, did you come at it green? Like, is your family got any background in farming or market gardening, or did you just come in and say, this is sounds romantic, this sounds interesting, I'm diving in?
Yeah, a bit. Look, I mean, my mum always had a big veggie patch at home when we were growing up, and I have always grown a small amount of veg at home, and it's been something that's like sort of a happy place for me. But no, I was working in corporate, doing large-scale events, but I was feeling like this is something that I liked doing, and I was a bit nervous to jump straight in and do, say, like a whole course or like a degree, or how do you even get into doing farming? That's one of the main premises of why we do this. Sort of, where do you even start? It's all very overwhelming. But yes, no, I was very green. And got so much out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this, everyone, like this is sort of exactly what the course wants to do. It's a 9-month introduction. It's not like you've just been to an Amway course and you come home on Sunday night and say, I'm quitting my job, I'm leaving my partner, I'm selling my house, and I'm going to become the platinum seller. And it goes back to that comment that came through on LinkedIn. And I'm sorry that I can't remember who said it, but it doesn't matter. This is kind of really the essence of, and garlic is just the gateway drug, isn't it? In the sense of saying this is where we can begin to experience that lifestyle of being a farmer. And Pat, we're going to get to you because you're on the ground, you're one of the farm coordinators. But just before we start bouncing, Lizzie, how did that period roll out for you? When was there a point where the Vaseline lens kind of gave way to the reality and the hard work that's involved with basically rolling the dice with nature? I don't say against, because farmers aren't against nature, particularly at this scale. But how did you feel when you started to confront those everyday realities?
Look, for me, it was scary making that change. But again, that's what the beauty of the course is it's not such a huge risk. But I guess for me, what it did was it gave me that feeling of real satisfaction, like doing a hard day's weeding and feeling really satisfied at the end of the day, having this crop at the end and feeling really satisfied. It also meant that I met a lot of people in the industry who are into sort of urban agriculture, regenerative agriculture around the place, and I was really inspired by that. So I guess for me, it's like probably increased my rose-tinted glasses tenfold, because I'm just like, wow, I've landed in this place where I think everyone's really supportive. There's so many different ways you can take it. There's so much going on in the industry at the moment too, which is inspiring. So that's kind of how it all unfolded for me. I feel like I kept repeating myself, but it's
No, that's not at all, because I think it's really important to place you in front of people in the context that you're in. That you came in green. You haven't come from a farming background.
No.
You had an idyllic interest to get involved.
Yeah.
You rolled your sleeves up. You got involved. The 9 months sort of put you in the deep end, but also wasn't.
It's a nice, really safe sort of dipping your toe in. I found that's what it felt like to me, which then encouraged me to do it further. So I went and did some study. After that, I've done a bunch of volunteering on farms and some working on farms, and I'm now doing mostly horticulture and agriculture-based work. So, it definitely gave me everything I wanted out of it.
We've got some interesting questions coming in, so hang with us, everyone, because Sarah, I like this one. That can you do the course but have your plot on your own farm and so on and so forth. We'll get to these questions, but I suppose it'd be nice if we can complete the setup here with you, Pat, and just kind of give us an explanation of where you fit in. What's your background history with the Incubator program, and what's your current role, if you can give us a bit of a timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've come in similar to Lizzie without any farming background. Well, my mum grew up on a sheep farm in New Zealand, and there've been sheep farmers in New Zealand for, a couple of 100 years, but I never grew up on a farm. And after bouncing around in my teenage years and early 20s, landed on horticulture. It was something that I wanted to study at university. So studied the associate degree at the University of Melbourne that now doesn't exist, unfortunately. And found out about Farmer Incubator, I guess, while at university, and coming straight out. I wasn't a participant in the program, but after finishing my studies, went on to do work at farms, some Somerset Heritage Produce. Chloe Fox, who runs that, is actually a graduate of the, is that right? Graduate of the program, one of the success stories, along with Lizzie.
Yeah.
And so currently working at a couple of farms, but the one that is included in the pop-up garlic farmers is Beals Road Farm in St Helena, near Greensboro in Melbourne. I must say, probably the best view of any urban farm. I'll say Melbourne, but we could go Australia, I think.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's very,
Yeah. Do we have a photo of the view?
Maybe not. Can we show a quick photo?
Yeah, well, look, I think that would be perfect, because just so people can understand the space that you're providing, Pat, for the participants.
Yeah, absolutely. So Beals Road Farm, it's quite a unique setting, actually. So we have a land share arrangement with a fella who lives in that beautiful cottage house at the back there. I'm not sure if you can see that yet, but he lives with lives with his autism, and he allows us to farm on the back acre. It's actually on Vic Road's land. So to provide some social support for Hayden, who lives there. Big tall man on Instagram, if you'd like to buy some laces. He's an incredible artist. So we provide social support for Hayden. He provides the land share for us to the farm there, and we farm with 2 people with intellectual disability. We're a group of horticulturists called the Veggie Empire, and part of that is providing space for other farmers to to learn and grow. And that is, me and Rachel in this year's pop-up garlic farmer space, I think last week, with the cover crop there, mixed cover crop of, all sorts of
what did
seeds
you
feeding the
use?
soil. Yeah, so I think most of the white flowers there are buckwheat. You can see some sunflowers. We've got some soybean edamame on the, close in on the left-hand side. We've also got sorghum, all sorts. I can't remember all of them. Maybe some millet as well, actually. Try and get as many species in there as possible. And so about a month before the program, we'll mow that down and cover it with a tarp for a month. Hopefully time that with a good rain event, ready for our pop-up garlic farmers to come and plant their garlic.
So how many farmers are going to be using this space, and what sort of space are you giving to each farmer in terms of volume of planting?
So each farmer gets 20 square meters, or about that. I'm not sure, 100% sure how many garlic bulbs that turns into, but it's about 20 square meters. I think about 500 bulbs of garlic, which I think is sometimes not spoken about, is that you get your seed garlic at the start of the year, and you have a chance to actually make your money back from the cost of the course by selling that garlic, which I think is something really special for in an incubation program. And so we'll have 4 or 5 garlic farmers there, and while not holding their hands, we will guide them through and give resource and remind them when the weeding needs to be done. To get them there, it doesn't have to be every week, but it needs to be, I think I've got a sign at home. I think it's in Spanish, but it says like the best fertilizer is a farmer's footsteps. And I think that's, true of any farmers, that, get there and walk through as often as possible to really notice what's going on.
And what sort of success have the participants had in terms of, selling some of their garlic, or what have most of them done with, say, that physical? Because I think there's 2 very distinct pieces of this puzzle. There's the connection. There's that embedding into the network of farming and farming markets, and understanding those connections and where you can supply. But then, of course, there's the actual physical material. Have people had success?
Yeah, so I know our group that we had this past season, we have a farmers market in Alphington selling our seedlings there, and they joined us a few times to sell their garlic, with really good success. Another great thing about garlic is that the product you sell is the seed that you sow the next season. So any unsold garlic is just a bumper crop for next year. Like Lizzie, do you know of what other groups have where and how they sold?
I think most people from my group have sold some. Some have kept some because they are really interested in cooking and they want to explore stuff that they can do with that. So that's a little side hustle for them. I got a bit emotionally attached to some of my braids, so you can see them back here. I can't part with those. But I sold some back to a local farmer down at Series Joe's, who gave me my first little volunteer days on her farm. That was very exciting. It was a nice full circle moment. But I also gifted some. But yeah, most of us have been able to sell some either through veggie boxes or just direct sales or at farmers markets. Yeah, one of the workshops we have is how to market your product. So it's definitely something you're prepared for.
And what's the overall number? So Beals Road Farm, Pat, that's one farm. How many other locations are there that are going to take participants this year? How many are in the overall program?
We've got 6 in our program this year. We have Wildwood Organics, which is in Macedon. They're spread all out. So I guess it depends on where people can get to. They're all really beautiful. But yeah, there is Wildwood in Macedon, Downs Estate in Seaford, Wild Wren Farm, which is in the Patch, and Beals Road, obviously, in Greensborough. We also have a couple of spots at Heidi Kitchen Garden in Bulleen, and Days
wow,
Walk
right in town.
Yeah. And Days Walk Farm in Keilor, which is part of where Farmer Incubator was born out of. So
yes,
yeah.
So how many is that in total? How many
That's
spaces?
Six sites. Oh, for 26 participants. Yeah.
Oh, 26. Yeah.
26
okay.
participants. Yeah. So there's varying numbers. We only have a couple of spots at Heidi, and some will have 4, some have 5. Yeah. That's how it's spread out.
Where are you at with the program? So what's the date? Today's the 20th, is it? Or something like that?
Yeah, 21st.
Actually, I learnt today that tomorrow is one of those dates that you can turn it backwards, forwards, and look at it upside down and front down as numbers. And
I worked that out with someone in a meeting today as well, and we were very excited.
There you go. So it's old news. The Costa News channel's a bit old. Sorry about that, everyone.
We were very excited by it too.
Yeah, someone texted me that about 6:45 this morning. I was looking at this strange thing. I'm going, what the hell is that? And I had to expand it because it was a kind of screenshot and it was tiny. I'm going, what's he? It looked like gobbledygook. And then I expanded the picture and I realized. So, okay, so we're at this interesting date.
Tomorrow's a really special date. Yeah. But our program kicks off, our first workshop, which is Welcomes and Introductions, is on Saturday, this Saturday the 26th. We're running that at Oak Hill Food Justice Farm in Preston. So you can sign up anytime up until then. The following week is our soils workshop. So that's when we sort of start getting into the nitty-gritty. And then continues on from there. But that's the time frames we're looking at. We have a couple of sites that are sold out already, but we do have a few spots left at some of the others. So, sorry.
So there is actually a little bit of space if someone knew of someone or someone. I mean.
Yeah. There are still spots available.
And I think, look, the idea of this is equally as much to broaden the network and put it in front of people. You know, we've got people from all over the country, but
I'm noticing that
when people hear about this, you know, there's wonderful groups such as Young Farmers Connect, which are doing big things up in the Northern Rivers. So they can't per se be part of you know, someone isn't necessarily coming down, but then stranger things have happened. But the reality is that your model is tried and proven. You're both living examples of how we can deal with this issue of succession in farming. Otherwise, you know, we just end up passing it over to the broad scale big ag. And we need to grow the farmers, and that's the essence of your project to grow farmers. The garlic, as I said earlier, is just it's the kind of
the vessel to do it. But
the sales brochure item saying, "Hey, get in here, and we want to get our hooks into you to get connected and understanding." Yeah,
and look, from what I understand, there's a lot of farmers who are really keen to sort of pass this knowledge on and participate in that way, because this is something they've worked so hard and so long on. But finding people who are willing to get involved and take that on can be tricky sometimes. So I think in some ways it can be a bit of a win-win. Yeah.
And it's the same it's pretty much the same in horticulture as well. You know, I was at a local plant society or horticultural society Christmas event, and you know, I looked around the room and there was, you know, close to 150 people in the room, and I said, there's thousands of years experience in this room. The reality is that potentially within less than a quarter of a century, if not maybe a fifth, 20 years, I said, that's all gone. Gone. A lot of it will be gone in 10 years. So, you know, what you're doing is incredibly important from that growing the farmer point of view.
Yeah, we think so too. Thanks.
Yeah, and I mean, through these workshops, there are those farmers that want to give their knowledge, and and you can sign up to the workshops as, you know, as one-offs if you want to pick and choose those. I know a really good one up at a Harcourt Co-op doing again this year. So Harcourt Co-op up near Castlemaine. That's always a great one to do around co-op farming. Gung-ho growers are really great up there. And then you can pick and choose. So if you are a garlic grower or a new garlic grower that can't commit, but maybe live outside of Melbourne, you can come in for the soils workshop or come in for the pests workshop for that knowledge that you're talking about, Costa.
Yeah. Good mention. Thank you.
Tom here, Lizzie's colleague from Farmer Incubator, get in touch with us at Farmer Incubator. Good on you, Tom. I've got the scroller running down the bottom there, and I'll put all the links to all of the social media platforms and the websites onto this post afterwards, so people can see how to get in touch with you. Pat, okay, from a garlic growing point of view, what's the, give us a bit of a chronology so that anyone watching can kind of get into their framework, what they need to do if they want to have success from the ground, literally from the ground up.
So I can only speak for the plant timings in Melbourne, at least.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
And so it's first of all, it's you know, choosing a good site, and so that doesn't necessarily mean sandy loam or clay soil, but it means somewhere where you like if you've got, we had big issues with saturation of the soil, and so it's building up your soil and creating high beds. The next point is probably picking some good seed garlic. So going to a reputable source, a good farmer primarily close to you would be a good source of seed garlic. And then at least in Melbourne, you're planting anywhere from, you know, start of April into May for different garlic groups. You've got some garlic groups that will plant later as a storage garlic for the next season. And then we are probably, after you're planting, you can mulch heavily over that. So we use a pea straw or a lucerne, something like that. That's to, one, hold the moisture when you've planted. You can often get away with 1 or 2 waters at least in when you plant. Well, that's what we found recently in Melbourne, at least. And then you're doing, you know, spot weedings throughout the winter, looking for pests and disease. So one of the big ones, at least in Melbourne, we had this year was some rust, which happened, you know, luckily towards the end of the season, which meant that you know, people, like participants, were able to pull their garlic before it affected the crop too much. Like Lizzie said, during winter there isn't a whole heap to do. You know, you're doing that spot weeding, you're checking the pests, and then come springtime, I know 2 seasons ago there had to be some irrigation on the garlic during that, you know, very hot spring, but mostly because October's the wettest month in Melbourne, you're looking for those signs of rot and when to get them out, which is normally start of November. So it truly is a sort of a 9-month crop. For some of those later ones that you're planting in May, you're probably harvesting in December. I hope that it's a quick chronology.
No, that was a good one.
Is that a good one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, what other? I mean, I speak from experience, and I was telling Lizzie this earlier today. For the last, I had a wonderful crop 4 years ago, or was it 5? And then I've had 2 years where the cockies have just ripped it out. I had 1 year where the rats ate it down, and then I had this year and last year where, this year particularly, we had so much rain
Yeah.
that it just got all of those fungal issues, and there wasn't anything I could really do about it. It just got the rust, it got the spots on it. It just looked like it was struggling, and then everything else came on scale, and then it just rotted in the centre, and you literally would go in there, and with each day that I'd go and look at it, another one had gone, and in the end I just went, that's it. Like,
that's it.
So you know,
Yeah.
I don't have my track record at the moment is 1 in 5. So
yeah,
this year, I'm hopeful that I can maybe.
I feel like it's going to be a good year for you, Costa.
Yeah, we've got good garlic hopes for you.
We only live in hope.
Yeah, but look, some basics, I guess, is you need as much sunlight as you can get throughout the day. So a shady space is not going to be a great place to start. And some spacing between your plants. We would usually say about 15 centimeters. Things like the weather are going to be out of our control sometimes. But if you can start with that, it doesn't like to have wet feet. So just making sure that you've got a bit of soil buildup and some drainage, enough sunlight throughout the day, and spacing it, then you're putting yourself off to a pretty good start.
And if it is getting wet like we have had this past spring, it's often like we pulled all our mulch off to give them as much space as possible. And then you're trying to dry them out in those last couple of months to get them ready for harvest. But you know, weather is becoming more unpredictable. So it's just knowing your climate and chatting to another garlic farmer. Yeah.
Sometimes just a consolation.
Oh, look, there's a few people carrying a bit of sharing the sympathy card with me. Yes, that happened to us. Had a great crop last year, but this year was a non-event. And here we've got a question from Tyler. How about soil conditioning? Any tips on improving soil biota? What sort of education do you provide around, you know, I mean, it's a given, and I know you do this, but what sort of education do you share around the importance of soil and soil biota, as Tyler said, and any amendments, any additions?
All of our program is based on organic and regenerative practices. So that's where we come from. That's the view we come from. Essentially, the best thing you can be doing is just building up that biota with compost, I guess, is probably the number one thing to go to. We don't use anything like pesticides or herbicides, but if you're just wanting to build that soil healthy, just wanting to add that compost on it, it gives you all the live nutrients that you need. You might want to talk a bit more to that.
As we saw in that photo before, we'll cut cover crops or something that we call green manure, and then you're working that back into the soil. Biodynamic farming do it. They have every couple of years they'll put a cover crop in their plot. That's if you have time and space. Often urban farms don't, and so they do build their organic matter with compost.
And the nitrogen fixing too.
Nitrogen fixing all the Fabaceae, so all your peas and things in there. And then it's compost. You can add a fertilizer, a pelletized chicken manure or something like that if you think you need it. But if you are cover cropping, if you are adding compost, often garlic won't need that, but you can get soil tests in pretty cheap now that can show you all the different mineral levels that you've got in your soil, and then you can go from there to amend.
We've got a nice range of comments coming through from rock dust, cow dung. We've got mulch, leaf litter, lipids, clover, which is otherwise known as clover, I believe. Christine. Grow soil, and nature will grow the.
Absolutely, if you look after your soil,
Dynamite. Dynamite. Christine. Dynamite.
Okay.
A little bit of autocorrect there. Dynamite lifter, yeah. Chuck a stick of gelicite in there, and that'll send your garlic cloves into the shed beautifully.
It will, yeah. That's a spicy garlic.
That's the old dynamic lifter.
Yes, yeah. Any of those sort of fertilizers, natural fertilizers, will of course do their bit to build your soil health up.
Rick has said you can also run a chicken tractor over the top and turn that green manure crop into literally fertilizer, but then you've got the roots in there, and that's the really important part that I think some people neglect, is that leaving the roots and allowing them to become fodder for the soil biota is a really important part. And Tyler's added here blood and bone, molasses, butte stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's a diversity, really. It's a diversity thing.
Exactly. Lorraine has also thrown in the cracker dust option, and Christine's composting. Love Tyler, love the philosophy you guys are preserving and sharing. Thanks, Tyler. So, we've got, I don't want to sort of go too long in the sense that, really happy if, are there any more specific questions, everyone out there, that you'd love to ask the team? Because they're here. They're really first front hands-on. And feel free to share any questions you like, and we'll just keep this Q&A going for a little while. We'll just see what comes in. What's the name of a really strong garlic type for flavour, or is it the type of soil that proves this?
So you can choose a variety with like stronger flavour. One that we grow is called a Spanish Roja, R-O-J-A. I've probably absolutely butchered that. It's a smaller clove, but a really strong, almost spicy flavour. It's a beautiful white skin with red individual red cloves. That would be one to look at if you want a nice strong garlic.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a question I saw before about whether people can participate from their own land. That is something that we're looking into. We've been exploring that one a bit. So if it's something that you're interested in, get in touch, by all means. We'd love to have a chat. We understand that not everyone is where we are or can get to where we are, or some people have, this land that they're not using that they want to maybe have a crack at. So wherever that question was, I can't remember what the name was, sorry, but shoot us an email.
What are your thoughts on that question, which was, do you go, do you have intent to go modular and grow it, or are you really intent on just growing the local farmers with the local knowledge, and by having a modular system, then people can take on all of those logistical aspects and see what you've done and then just replicate it rather than trying to do this? What are your thoughts there?
Look, we've got a few little things in the works at the moment that we're still not quite finished with, so watch this space. But I think, when we're talking about fairer food systems, local is a big part of that. So for us, like a strong focus on local is, I suppose, that backs that idea. And there's also the thing of doing something and doing it well where you do it. Definitely not opposed to the idea of looking at expanding at other places. I know that there are some sort of similar programs that might be popping up around. I mean, there's a lot of these kinds of programs in Europe, which is where some of these ideas came from. But for the moment, we're just growing what we can where we are.
Yeah. Sarah just popped back into the chat and said, "Do you provide hardneck or softneck seed garlic to participants?" It was me asking about.
Hi Sarah. I hope that
Thanks,
answered
Sarah.
for you. Okay, yeah. We have about 5 varieties, so there will be a couple of each, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you get a few varieties to grow.
Tyler just mentioned, that good point. Simon's work with the veggie pod and wicking beds, but yes, that caution around, retained water providing a bit of a problem with the garlic.
Yeah, especially in winter with garlic, you're probably avoiding water retention as much as possible. I'd just like to mention so that there's an opportunity for anyone that can't the price isn't in their range or can't afford the program, that Local Food Connect are offering a scholarship for the program. And so if you can look that up through Farm Incubator or Local Food Connect, there's an opportunity. They're looking for someone between 18 and 25. And so if anyone out there does know of anyone that's looking to get into farming, there's a scholarship available.
That's a great point, everyone. If you know someone that might need that assistance, and don't underestimate just throwing this around. That you've seen this broadcast, and if you think that there's someone that might like to do this concurrent with, be it their studies in horticulture, or it might even be studies in something a parallel universe. It's
or their day job in accounting. It's it can apply like that to give people a different feel.
Now there was one here. Where was it? So Christine Devine, it's about 9 months. Oh yeah, this is my friend Katrina, an incredible food advocate across so many projects for so long. Lovely to have you join us in, Katrina. How to bring the acquired, established knowledge of the oldies into a productive relationship with such wonderful newbies and yourself. The wrinkles like myself know stuff, but you're riding the wave of today. Language has changed, technological reevaluation. That kind of really sums up what you're trying to do, because you're not playing that card of like, well, we've been doing this for 3 generations, and that's an important thing, because we don't want those 3 generations to go into the ground and feed the garlic crop. We want that 4th generation, but we also want new generations to become the 1st generation, really.
Yeah. And there's this wealth of knowledge. Like, it's, as you said before, it would be such a horrible shame to let that go to waste. There's people who have worked all this knowledge and wisdom, and to be able to learn from them and pass that on and bring some enthusiasm as well from the other end. I think it's really worthwhile holding on to and passing down.
Emanuela has just thrown a comment in here: allowing Indigenous weeds to grow in the off season, slash them, allow them to break down, rotary hoe them back into the ground, building on your soil profile. But as you've mentioned there, I agree, Emmanuel, not Emanuela, sorry, I just added an A on there. Those local microorganisms are critical, and when you feed them, they will do the job under those conditions, because they've lived there for a long time.
Exactly, which is why actually Pat was saying before, if you're looking to source garlic, getting it from somewhere local is always the best way to go as well.
Oh, look at this.
Nice, Rhiannon. We're very much looking forward to being here.
A garlic farming librarian, and
Keen in the bean in a washing machine. This is brilliant.
Brianna, that, as a librarian, you will be able to influence a lot of people just by talking about what you do and sharing this journey. And that's what we want. We need to break out of the traditional lineage and that traditional rite of passage almost, that you have to have done this, and that if you're not, or if you don't have the course, well, maybe you need to do something, and then when you do the course, you're going to do that course like a mongrel, because you're going to want that information with such a zest that you will go, right, I'm going to do my Hort 3 certificate, or I'm going to do my land, my ecology, or whatever it may be, or I'm going to go and do an intro to permaculture course, or I'm going to go and do this soil. I'm going to go to the land care group and go to these soil farming workshops, and I might join what may seem like why would I join young farmers? But they're having workshops and talks and all these things. Like, this is very exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. Thanks for signing up. We're looking forward to meeting you. But no, it does. It gives you that hands-on experience without being this overwhelming dive into, I'm going to go back to school and study this whole thing. You get to actually get a real feel for it while you're still doing whatever else is that you're doing.
Yeah, soil hands in the library. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey.
It's good. Yeah.
You can do one thing to pay the bills, another thing to make you happy, and then work it out from there.
My buddy Robbie over in East Gippsland, who I'll be seeing for their land care, their big land care event on the long weekend in whenever the long weekend is. I'll be down there, Robbie. But I agree. Well done, Brianna. That's wonderful.
Hi, Robbie.
And this is a great comment. More public libraries with seed libraries. That's something that Grow It Local is really working hard at building that up. I remember opening one of the first seed libraries at Port Macquarie Library some years ago, and then as a result of a project I did with one of the sort of daily rags who wanted to give out seeds, I said, well, let's get seed libraries in, and so up in the Northern Rivers, a couple of libraries have done that. So these things they're all connected. They're really connected, and it's wonderful. And Katrina just said the antidote to industrial food is diversity and working in support and recognition of our diverse difference and shared values. That's so true.
It's a really supportive, connected industry, I find.
Yeah, very cooperative. There's very little competition.
Everyone wants to share knowledge, share seeds, share ideas, give feedback to each other. That's one of the most standout things I've noticed about making a move into the industry.
Here's an interesting one, and I like this. John Blake, as a personal trainer, you are an amplifier around food and nutrition and health, and people listen to you. And when you connect with this, you may not be growing garlic, but then again, maybe you do, and you become the garlic growing personal trainer. But that's irrelevant. The point being that you could actually connect with the program by connecting your clients to buy the garlic from the participants. So that they sell their crop. They then become these wonderful advocates of the program, and then you start to build influence, real influence, and as Katrina said, real influence around the future of our food. Because when you're standing there and you're getting someone to do their 30th burpee and you're burping out this sort of connection, that's what it's about, John. So I'm really pleased to see you here and hear you talking like this, and now you can connect to this network that Lizzie and Pat are nurturing.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Oh, here we go. You can read more about the sites there.
Yeah. Someone was asking where this is based in Victoria. We have sites based all around Victoria, and we do the same with our workshops. We try to move them around to different sites. But there is a program on our website which has all of that information.
Dallas. Oh, no, sorry. Tyler, boom, boom. I totally agree. I just want to put that up there.
Yep.
Make sure everyone, if you haven't caught all the comments, the comments, just thank you. It's just wonderful to see this, and I think we can underestimate how look, even if you don't want to grow, buy the garlic, and then if you buy the garlic from where the garlic participants are selling it, you're going to be mixing with a whole lot of other growers. And then you'll start to buy food from those growers and support that network of local production. And that changes the system without it being, it's just you doing it in your bit, but then influencing. And so whether it's Dallas or Tyler or whether it's through your librarianship or your personal trainingship, either which way, we have a wonderful opportunity to take Farmer Incubator with us, even without becoming a participant. We become part of the network support.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to see so many people excited about having this chat tonight. I just wanted to say thank you while I'm looking at all these names pop up. It's really heartening. Yeah, the enthusiasm is great.
It is. It really is. Here's one for you from Dallas, just about garlic varieties.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. They do exist. Far North Queensland might stretch my knowledge a little bit, but I think if you can find a local garlic farmer or a local website that displays that information, that's probably your best. That's probably your best spot to get that information about your locality.
Yeah, good.
I'm sure there's a garlic association website as well that you might be able to link up.
Yeah,
Australian Association.
There's a Australian Garlic Growers page, Facebook page. They're great. They're a great resource. Give them a sus.
Yeah.
And the other reality is, it doesn't have to be garlic.
No.
The model that you use in Far North Queensland would be better off being an appropriate crop to Far North Queensland, because you're going to be pushing uphill to try and grow that cooler climate. Jerry's constantly saying on Gardening Australia, grow society garlic, grow these things that will give you the flavour without it. So I think using the model but tweaking it to crops that could equally take a certain amount of time. Could be a 6 month or an 8 month or a 9 month crop, doesn't matter. But using that same essence to create the inspiration is really what farmer you're incubating, and garlic is just the bait that you're putting on the hook.
Farmers. Yeah, you can grow some cool stuff that we can't down here. So I would take advantage of that. Absolutely. Yeah. We try and fail. So make the most.
Shana's just brought in the wonderful work that's going on with Crop Swap. Crop Swap Australia, spreading the crop swap, and it's the local thing. It's not trying to become this organisation that tries to do it for the whole country. It's saying, no, here's our model, you just do it. And Laurie La here in Sydney, Crop Swap Sydney, she also runs Crop Swap Australia, but more as a platform for everyone to dump their great ideas onto and say, yes, we're winning. And then it just means that everyone gets the support and the backing. And then when you go for grants and dollars, you've got a whole nation of crop swappers behind you, not just, this is our little cottage of 20 people or 30 people just in this suburb. It's like, and it's the same thing. The same thing's happening with edible garden trails. The edible garden trail is just, we've got the Blue Mountains Edible Garden Trails coming up soon, on the heels of the Sydney Edible Garden Trail. Sydney Edible Garden Trail incubated the Sanford Edible Garden Trail at Brisbane, which incubated the Adelaide Edible Garden Trail. And that all began through Blue Mountains and the Otways. So, these things, be careful. If
Look out.
Just joined, have to see what's going on. No worries, Alina. You can watch it again. It'll be there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for someone to share farm a zucchini crop. No worries, Emmanuel. Everyone's here. They'll have a look. Andrew's just said, I never knew there was such a garlic following until tonight. I think of you all when I'm at the next Italian restaurant. Yeah, good point.
A real cult.
It is. Get on the garlic cult train.
Well, there you go. Here we go. Dallas has said Atherton. Yeah, well, see, the thing with Atherton is it has the cooler temps.
Yeah.
So, if you get the elevation, then you overcome the intensity of the humidity, which is the biggest problem. Mark Hayes, hang on a sec. I like elephant garlic, the leek family, milder flavour and huge bulbs. Oh, Mark, just smashing it out of the park there, brother. You want garlic?
Yeah.
Garlic.
Yeah. It is very impressive looking garlic. It's very big. Yeah.
What else? Gee, there's so many comments have come in. I've slowed down.
Yeah. We'll have to make sure we jump on and respond to as many of these.
Give us some answers.
We will though, because this is a really exciting conversation for us too.
Katrina, that's almost actually. I'm going to take that one away, and we're going to close. I'm going to use that as the closer, Katrina. Sorry, I'm repeating the question, guys. Can I be part of the program if I live in Sydney?
A lot of frequent flyers from Sydney.
Isn't quite as a sustainable footprint as we'd like.
Send us an email. I mean, there'll be things that we might not be able to do this year, but that we might be working on. So, but send us an inquiry and we'll have a chat. Blue Mountains, yeah.
Elaine said, I always have a lot of organic crops, extra organic crops. Sounds like I could do this. Yeah, crop swap. And look, on that scale, for any of you that might have watched Gardening Australia on Friday night, which was our first show back, my story was of the plant library rather than a street library. It was a plant street library. Yeah. And basically, Kelly had set up, this structure, and she just puts cuttings there and grows plants for it. People bring a plant, they take a plant, they swap seeds, they do all these things.
Got that. Yeah.
And in essence, the crop swap is that same thing. And when people start to realize that if it's not about, we're not going to face the challenges of that faces the bigger ticket challenges by running off to try and grow everything and live this isolated life. Well, I think what we need to do is be bucking that, leave it to me and do it, leave it to us, and let's do this together. I don't
build
have
some community and look after each other. It's there's a lot of strength in that.
Totally. Well, look, I reckon we're pretty close to an hour, so I'll just look at these last couple of comments. Thanks, Costa. I can't believe my garlic farming future starts this Saturday. All signed up. Garlic. That's that is fantastic. And I think what I'll do for everyone listening to this broadcast, and particularly for anyone watching the broadcast afterwards, what I'll do is I'll keep in touch with Pat and Lizzie across the next couple of months, and maybe we can do a Monday night catch up once every couple of months, and or even if it's not Monday night, we could maybe even we can, because you can take photos and share the photos with us.
See how it's going. Well, we want to have you a bumper crop this year too, don't we, Costa? That's the goal.
Oh yeah, well I gotta I'm gonna have another crack.
Gonna happen.
You know, these are parts of the.
We'll have a bed for you at Beals Road Farm.
Yeah. The cost of flight.
Oh yeah, gee. This summer grow for me here in Sydney has been so rough with the humidity. So that's Abby.
It was a lot of that.
Welcome to the club, my garlic. It'll be interesting to see because we're La Nina. There's going to be a lot more rain over the next couple of months, so I think it's going to be in our interests in Sydney maybe to hold back a little and maybe wait until April and see whether the rain eases a little. I know. So, I suppose just as a final thought, for both of you to share, and everyone whose questions we didn't get to, Pat and Lizzie are going to go through and answer questions, and I'll go through as well. I from Mountain View Garlic Farm Shop Wood End, finding this interesting. Always try to keep low kilometres on all our food. Yeah, good on you, Baz. Absolutely. That's what it's about. How we all make a difference.
Every little bit.
Now, I just thought for a closing thought, I'll just inoculate that thought through this comment from Katrina. And if you both want to respond to this and give us your closing comments. Here we go.
Listen closely.
Yeah. It's about shared values and relationship with land. Yes. I mean, I don't know how to say this any better than you have. It is what it's about. We're talking about farming. We're talking about connection to country, to nature, to community. It does sound cultish, doesn't it? But it is. It's all of these things which are all. It's so important, and it's.
We encourage participants to grow together. You know, as a group, and then start together as a group.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is. Garlic is bringing those people together to go through the garlic journey. As a team.
Yes.
As a community.
And as we said, there's so much strength in community that we're all tapping into or tapping back into maybe a bit better these days, and it's really reassuring when you do to feel that strength that it has.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I think the reality of tonight was to put it out there, and I feel like every single one of you that has joined this live has helped to put it out there, not just consciously, but subconsciously, because if you think about garlic a little bit differently because of this chat, if you share it, if you think about acquiring your garlic in a different way and not just mindlessly picking up the imported cheap infused with who knows what sort of garlic, because it is very cheap, as opposed to communicating with the program and potentially getting hold of their garlic to support the program. Well, that money that you pay, which you may pay elsewhere, is actually paying it forward to the future of farming in the country. And I think that's an investment that speaks for itself. So all of the info will be, all of the links that you've seen me popping up from the websites to the social media, so that everyone around the country can follow what chatter and banter the incubators are up to over the next months. And share what they do. If you see an interesting post, share it on your socials, follow their website, talk about it, and let's really raise the consciousness of not just, as Katrina said, the garlic crop, but all of the crops that we bring into our lives. So, guys, Lizzie, Pat,
thank you so much. We really
Thanks,
really
Costa,
appreciate
thanks,
this.
Everyone.
This is wonderful. we will get back to all of these messages as soon as we can. We'll be jumping on that. But thank you, Costa, so much. We really appreciate it. It's been
fantastic. Charlie asked what hashtags should they use.
PUGF 22.
2022, yeah. PUGF for Pop Up Garlic Farmer.
Thanks, Karen. So glad I joined tonight. Who was that?
Yeah,
Charlie. Oh.
I can't even missed out last year. Get on board this year.
No, you did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Isn't that good? But, you know, and that's, I mean, seriously, if this live broadcast just put this in front of you, then our work here is done, you know, because that's one extra. So, Charlie, I'm pumped about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. Well, we'll wrap it up. Thanks again, and best wishes to all of the participants. And there's still time, of course, for people to hear about it. So for everyone that's watched, share this broadcast out there, so that we may hook a few more people for the program.
Thank you. We're really looking forward to meeting you all. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was very generous of you.
Oh, look at that. We've got Kate from the NT. As she said, the floods showed us, you know, the importance of growing local community that grows local food. I totally agree, Kate. Wonderful, wonderful comment. Zaf, absolute pleasure. Emmanuel, wonderful. Ange, see you later. Lauren, thanks for joining us. Rachel, thank you. So, all right, we'll leave it on that note. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And Lizzie, Pat.
We'll check back in soon. Yeah. Right. Thank you.